The world's hottest online game had just launched, and everyone rushed to grind levels. I did the opposite. I watched its 5-hour intro. Everyone thought I was an idiot, but I knew the truth. Jution World was not just a game. Hundreds of nations built it for a catastrophe coming in 5 years. Then another world would descend on Earth, and game powers would become real. Anyone who watched the full promo would receive a hidden system reward. In my last life, top players rose because of that reward. Now I was reborn before launch. I immediately watched the promo video from start to finish. The next second, 3 options popped up before me: equipment, talent, and title. Without a moment's hesitation, I chose the title, because whether in the game Jution World or after the other world descends, titles are incredibly rare. Moreover, the combat power a title provides far exceeds that of equipment or talents. As I confirmed my choice, the surroundings suddenly began to collapse. Then, a black title gradually emerged before me, as if it had risen from the depths of hell. I was completely stunned. What kind of title is this? And it's a unique one? I had never even heard of this title in my previous life. I had no idea what its effects or bonuses were. With that thought, I immediately entered the game to check my title. Savior of the Dead. Grade: undisplayable. Trait: locked. All attacks by the wearer have a 100% hit rate, 0% chance to evade. Trait: corrosion. All attacks directly corrode the target, ignoring the target's defense. Damage dealt is based on 1% of the wearer's current stamina. Skill: undead redemption. Can turn dead creatures into zombies. If the deceased is already undead, they become a ghost. Furthermore, the undead's maximum stamina is 100% converted into extra stamina for the wearer. Undead storage limit: 5. Limit increases as level increases. Seeing these effects, I froze in my tracks. Is this really a title? This has to be a bug, especially the undead redemption skill. Doesn't that mean I'm a one-man army? I won't even need to party up for dungeons. I immediately equipped the title and hid it. Then I chose the same class as my previous life, Godgunner Cannon King. For my nickname, I chose Eastern Cannon King. After picking my class, I entered the beginner village. The village was already packed with players, and I was ready to test my title skill: undead redemption. The only monsters around the village were slimes, basic creatures for players to practice on. After finding one of those jelly-like creatures, I whipped out my revolver without hesitation. Bang! 3 bullets hit the slime directly. Minus 30 HP. Slime killed. EXP +1. Once the slime died, 2 words appeared above its corpse: redeem. I paused for a moment. Could this be the special skill granted by the title? I immediately chose redeem. Ding! Redemption successful. Zombie slime. Stamina: 50. Skill bash. Deals 7 damage. Wearer's extra stamina +50. Aside from its color being slightly darker, the zombie slime looked almost the same. Seeing this, I ordered the zombie slime to attack the other slimes, while I provided cover fire with my revolver. To my surprise, the zombie slime's attacks also carried the corrosion effect. Just 3 minutes later, my undead count had already reached the limit. Looking at the 5 zombie slimes before me, I couldn't help but smile. These 5 undead subordinates gave me a total of 250 extra stamina. And with these 5 minions, I didn't even need to grind for levels myself. Even if a zombie slime was occasionally killed, I only needed to spend 5 stamina to revive it. Just like that, half an hour later, I successfully reached level 2, gaining 5 free attribute points. However, to my surprise, just by leveling up once, the limit for undead redemption actually doubled, from 5 to 10. Under my control, the zombie slimes struck several more times, instantly killing several slimes. By now, I had filled my undead quota, and my extra stamina bonus had risen to 600. Unfortunately, after reaching level 2, killing slimes no longer granted experience. So, I prepared to head into the wild to hunt other monsters. But just as I was about to leave the beginner village, 5 figures suddenly materialized from the void. 5 men and women, dressed in various outfits, with short swords and daggers at their waists. They looked incredibly fierce. I was a bit puzzled. This is the respawn point. Did they just hit level 2 and immediately get slaughtered outside? You see, this game has an attribute called lifespan, Whenever you're killed by a monster, your lifespan is instantly halved. Once there's nothing left to reduce, the player will die in the real world. But I can't blame them for being so reckless. In the first 3 days after launch in my previous life, no one discovered the lifespan mechanic. Not until monsters slaughtered an entire beginner village did everyone realize the truth. Lifespan isn't just about your real-life existence. It's also a supplement for wild monsters to evolve. Once a wild monster kills a player and absorbs too much lifespan, its attributes will take a quantum leap, could even grow into a boss-level monster. Looks like I need to hurry up and level up. I don't want to die at the hands of a mutated monster. With that in mind, I immediately headed out of the beginner village. After walking for a short while, I spotted a purple zombie covered in black hair, resting by the side of the road. Purple zombie, level 2, evolving. My luck is actually pretty good. As I spoke, I snapped my fingers. 10 black vortices suddenly erupted from the ground around me. Then, 10 zombie slimes emerged from within. The next second, 10 zombie slimes charge at the purple zombie all at once. Seeing this, the purple zombie lets out a roar, looking at the 10 slimes with utter disdain. It swings its arms to strike them down, but just as its palms strike, one of the zombie slimes, bang, 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 all 10 slimes simultaneously use impact, swarming forward. They instantly crush the purple zombie. The purple zombie tries to resist, but the slimes stick him to the ground like glue. Purple zombie stamina -7. The attacks of the 10 zombie slimes. Each hit carries corrosive damage from their title, though the damage to the purple zombie is negligible. But as it accumulates, the purple zombie's stamina continues to drop. Feeling the pain, the purple zombie roars in fury, but it's all in vain. In no time, its stamina drops to 50%, and the corrosive effect keeps intensifying. Roar, roar, roar. The purple zombie keeps struggling, but there are too many slimes. The more it struggles, the harder it is to break free. Finally, the purple zombie collapses, motionless. Level 2 purple zombie killed. EXP plus 100. Monster dropped 72 years and 32 days of lifespan. Available for pickup. I don't hesitate to collect all its lifespan. Looking at the energy orb in my hand, I think of the 5 people I encountered earlier. If I'm not mistaken, they probably died by this purple zombie's hand, losing half of their own lifespan. Then, I notice the word above the purple zombie. Redemption. I immediately choose redemption. Redemption successful. Purple zombie. Stamina 1000. Skill corpse hardening. Special skill zombie aura. Deals poison damage to enemies. Wearer's additional stamina plus 1000. A look of joy flashes across my face. 1000 stamina. If I can hunt 10 purple zombies, won't my stamina exceed 10,000? And these are my undead minions, while my limit is only 10. Once I level up and increase my minion capacity, just how terrifying will my stamina be? With that thought, I waste no more time and start searching for the next purple zombie in the Deadwood Forest. I plan to reach level 3 first and replace the slimes with purple zombies before hunting the 1-star boss, the white zombie. I recall this boss is only level 5, but its stats are incredibly high. In my past life, I remember it took over 10 days after launch for someone to get the first kill on the white zombie. This time, I'll kill it within 3 days. There are plenty of purple zombies in the Deadwood Forest. I quickly find the second one. With the undead purple zombies' help, dealing with them becomes much easier. Combined with the corrosive effect from my title, it's easy to push the purple zombies. Health down to around 30%. Level 2 purple zombie killed. EXP plus 100. Congratulations. You've gained 10 years of lifespan after replacing the slimes. My current additional stamina has reached 2,500.
Ido araf calculation.
My stamina is now 25 times that of an average person. I prepare to search for more purple zombies, but just then, right in front of me, a couple suddenly comes running. Both look panicked, as if some monstrous beast is chasing them. I take a closer look and realize that what's chasing them is actually the 1-star boss, the white zombie. The white zombie comes leaping toward us, and in the blink of an eye, it's right in front of me. I freeze. A white zombie, although it's only a 1-star boss. It appeared way too early. I clearly remember that in my past life, only after players hit level 3 and the rankings opened, did they start encountering white zombies. Meanwhile, the couple lets out desperate screams. They can't dodge the white zombies' attacks at all. Young Master Chun, what do we do? The girl cries out. The boy called Young Master Chun notices me, and his eyes light up. Save me. I'll give you 100,000 after we log off. Hearing this, I don't say a word and just turn around and run. You've got to be kidding me. I only have a 70% chance of killing this white zombie right now. I won't move unless I have a 98% certainty. Besides, this Young Master Chun had a notorious reputation in my past life. Not only was he a womanizer, but also arrogant and overbearing. In the early days of the Jutian world, he used his family's power to ruin many people. Splat! The white zombie pounces on the girl's back, sending her straight back to the respawn point. Seeing this, Young Master Chun panics. He just managed to pick up this girl. He wanted to show off in front of her in the game, but instead of acting cool, he's about to be dragged down with her. Then Young Master Chun glares at me. You're called Eastern Cannon King, right? Just you wait. How dare you ignore me in my time of need? I'll kill you until you quit the game. But the next second, he's swatted dead by the white zombie, a level 5 1-star boss. A single casual slap deals over 100 damage. Level 1 and 2 players barely have 100 stamina at most, against players with 0 skill. There's literally 1 slap per kid. After killing Young Master Chun, the white zombie begins absorbing the 2 players' lifespans, but it's still not enough for him. Then he turns his gaze toward me as I run. He can feel it. My vitality is incredibly strong. The white zombie leaps into the air and lunges straight at me. I hear the wind whistling in my ears and quickly step to the side. The white zombie's claw misses and hits the ground. I raise an eyebrow. Since you're begging for death, don't blame me. Minions, protect me. As soon as I speak, 2 purple zombies surge out from both sides, and 8 zombie slimes simultaneously surround the white zombie. Seeing a group of low-level mobs actually surrounding him, it becomes enraged and swings its arms wildly in all directions. Then a series of dull thuds echo. 7 slimes are instantly obliterated, but one of the slimes actually instinctively dodged the white zombie's attack. Seeing this, I'm quite surprised. What's going on? Does this zombie slime actually have self-awareness? Whatever, let's deal with the white zombie first. I let out a light chuckle. Old bye, do you know what a 100% hit rate means? As soon as I spoke, the quick draw skill activated. This is the sharpshooter's 1-star passive skill. It boosts my attack speed by 20%. Bang, bang, bang. The moment I opened fire, the 2 purple zombies behind me lunged straight at the white zombie. Critical hit, -60. Seeing the damage I dealt, I was highly satisfied. I glanced at the white zombie's remaining health, still 9,820. In this early stage where average damage is in the single digits, if I released it into the beginner village, it would be an absolute massacre. But the higher the white zombie's health, the greater the reward for redeeming it. I decided to take my time playing with this guy. Anyway, my undead subordinates can revive infinitely, and they deal corrosive damage. As long as I don't get reckless, wearing it down is only a matter of time. Meanwhile, inside the beginner village, the moment Young Master Chun respawned, he roared, "Eastern Cannon King, I'm not done with you today. Just you wait." However, Young Master Chun didn't rush out to seek revenge immediately. Instead, he turned his gaze toward a group of players hacking away at slimes. Listen up, everyone. I am the young heir of the Chun group. From this moment on, I'm placing a bounty on a player named Eastern Cannon King. Whoever helps me catch him, I'll give you 500,000. Upon hearing this, the players' faces lit up with joy. This guy is worth 500k. Let's go. Let's go. Let's help Young Master Chun catch that guy. The group of players suddenly became excited. At this time, they still thought this world was just an ordinary game. After all, a game isn't as important as reality. While many players were trying to find me for the bounty, a game isn't as important as reality. While many players were trying to find me for the bounty, I finally wore down the white zombie. Ding! You have slain the 1-star boss White Zombie. Gained EXP plus 1,200. Ding. You have reached level 3. Gained 5 free attribute points. Ding. As the first player on the server to slay a boss, you are granted special rewards. Free attribute points plus 20. 3-star random skill book plus 1. Class-specific weapon selection chest plus 1. Congratulations. Slaying the white zombie has granted you 100 years of lifespan. Congratulations. Slaying the white zombie has granted you 3-star equipment. Black trench coat. Ding. As the first player on the server to slay a boss, a global announcement is about to be made. Would you like to hide your name? Hearing the prompt, I rubbed my chin. It's not like I killed some ultra-rare boss. No need to hide my name. Then I calmly selected no. More than the global announcement, I was more interested in what the system just mentioned, the 3-star random skill book, and the gear dropped by the white zombie. While it's normal for beginner village bosses to drop gear, what I didn't expect was that a 1-star boss would drop 3-star equipment. In the first few days after the game launched, most dropped gear basically had no star rating. Whether it's gear or skills, the higher the star rating, the stronger the bonus. I remember in my past life 3-star gear didn't appear until half a month after launch, obtained by pro players hunting dungeon bosses. I didn't expect to loot it so early in this life. I scanned the attributes. The requirement was actually level 5. The stats were defense plus 15, magic resist plus 15, for players whose defenses are in the single digits. Wearing this makes them a qualified tank. As for the attribute points from the system, I put them all into the independent attack attribute. This way, whether it's the zombie dogs I summon, or my own attack power, both will be greatly enhanced. After doing that, I turned my attention to the 3-star random skill book. This was the reward that surprised me the most. You have to understand that even in the late game, skill books are extremely rare. Even for dungeon bosses, the drop rate for skill books is heartbreakingly low. Thinking of this, I said a quick prayer first, then slowly placed my hand on the skill book. Ding! Congratulations! You have obtained the passive skill, Earth's Renewal. Restores 3% of max health every 10 seconds. Effect is doubled during non-combat. The moment I saw this skill, I clicked learn without hesitation. I'm desperately lacking recovery skills right now, especially health-based ones. With this skill, I can maximize the effect of my title. After learning the skill, I looked at the white zombie's corpse. This time, there was an extra line of text after redeem. Because the target's level is higher than yours, you only have 3 chances for redemption. If all 3 fail, you will never be able to redeem this undead. Seeing this, I murmured, only 3 chances. Thinking of the white zombie's massive health, I took a deep breath and slowly reached out my finger. Redeem. Redemption successful. White zombie, level 5, health 11,000.
Mana, 1,000.
Strength, 30. Intelligence, 0. Armor, 30. Magic resist, 20. Speed, 2.2. Skill Bone Claws.
Skill description.
Ignores 30% of the enemy's armor upon attack. Holy crap, I actually succeeded on the first try, and this guy's health actually broke 10,000. After redeeming the white zombie, my Redemption of the Dead updated again. Skill Redemption of the Dead. Undead limit, 15. Current undead count, 11. Wearer's bonus health, plus 13,600. When I saw my max health, I suddenly felt that the purple zombies weren't that great anymore. I'm going to replace all my undead subordinates with white zombies. Then, I checked the undead redeemed in my title. 8 zombie dogs, slimes, 2 purple zombies, and 1 white zombie. Now, the slimes are something I can let go of at any time. But just as I was preparing to release all 8 slimes, I suddenly noticed that after the name of one slime, the words can evolve had appeared. I've never heard of slimes being able to evolve. Even in the late game of my past life, I never discovered an evolved form of a slime. Interesting. I wonder what a slime will look like after evolving. Thinking of this, I immediately opened the slime's evolution requirements. Devour 1,000 zombie slimes. Holy crap, you've got to be kidding me. I can already solo a white zombie, and now it wants me to go back and and kill slimes? And 1,000 of them at that, even with one undead minion. This is going to take forever. But just as I was debating whether to return to the starter village, a dagger pierced straight through my heart. Fatal damage received. Stamina minus 120. I froze when I saw the damage. This isn't damage a normal player could deal. To have this much power at this stage. It could only be that woman known as the strongest early game assassin, Inoue. But Inoue, standing behind me, looked completely baffled. She had put everything into this ambush. She couldn't believe anyone could survive such a lethal strike. Even a tank class should have been dead after a hit like that. But what's up with this kid? She didn't have time to think. She immediately tried to reposition and vanish. But why would I give her a chance to escape? I activated my title's passive skill, Lock On, and fired straight at Inoue. The pistol bullet streaked through the air. Thwack! The bullet slammed right into Inoue's chest. Hit squarely, Inoue couldn't believe her eyes. Did that bullet just curve? She should have dodged it easily, unless this is his skill. But what shocked her even more was the damage. Minus 170. Without even a critical hit, it took her life instantly. Who the hell? Before Inoue could finish, the system teleported her back to the starter village respawn point, leaving behind only a blue orb of light. I stepped forward and picked up the orb. Obtained 8 years and 25 days of lifespan. Non tradable. Current lifespan, 58 years, 25 days. Tradable lifespan, 172 years, 32 days. Trying to kill me? You're just handing me your lifespan for free. Hunting players in the game drops no more than 10 years of lifespan. It's added directly to your own life, and this life can be transferred to the real world. When the first batch of players returns to reality, a group of player hunters will emerge, specifically to steal others' lifespans. There will be no respawn mechanism then. Thinking of this, I knew I couldn't afford to waste any more time. After all, I wasn't the only one who saw the promotional trailer. There might be someone even more monstrous than me. I have no intention of becoming someone else's lifespan. I'll hunt purple zombies and max out my undead minions first. Then I immediately began hunting the purple zombies in the withered wood. After about 10 minutes, I filled all 15 vacant slots. The extra stamina bonus reached a staggering 23,600. The number of purple zombies reached 13, while I still only had one white zombie. As for that evolvable zombie slime, I didn't let it go. I wanted to see if this slime's evolution would bring me a surprise. After all that, I teleported back to the starter village. To my surprise, the moment I stepped off the teleportation array, I bumped into Inoue coming from the respawn point. When Inoue saw me, an inexplicable rage flared up inside her. But she knew she was no match for this guy right now. She took a deep breath. Eastern Cannon King, just you wait. With that, Inoue left the starter village. I watched her leave, not giving it a second thought. The reason Inoue was called the strongest early game assassin was because in the mid-game, she was betrayed and killed in a dungeon, and that dungeon had no respawn mechanism. If not for that accident, with just the 7-star skill she got from the trailer, the skill, Divine Stealth, she would have dominated the entire Jution world. Unfortunately, she was too impulsive and ended up getting played. After watching Inoue leave, I encountered two figures who were big shots in my previous life, Qingjian Yixing and Brother Leg. These two and the guild they later formed could be said to have shaken the entire Jution world. Among them, this guy called Qingjian Yixing seemed to have official Chinese government backing. He knew a lot of inside secrets about the game. Moreover, his reputation was excellent. He was someone worth befriending. At this moment, Qingjian Yixing and Brother Leg had only just entered the game. Holy crap, Qingjian, this game is so realistic. Qingjian Yixing smirked. It's just a virtual world. We're all in a game. But when he looked at the info panel, he was completely stunned. Two announcements were staring him in the face. Congratulations to player Eastern Cannon King for successfully achieving the first kill of the 1-star boss White Zombie. Server-wide announcement. Congratulations to player Eastern Cannon King for becoming the first player to reach level 3. Server-wide announcement activated. And the level leaderboard is now open. What's going on? The leaderboard is already open, and even the white zombie has been killed? This isn't what was agreed upon. Who the hell is this Eastern Cannon King? I only logged in a couple of hours late. How did such a powerhouse suddenly appear? Could he also be someone sent by the higher-ups on a mission? Qingjian, what's wrong? Let's go kill some slimes and level up. Recovering himself, Qingjian didn't dwell on it. Instead, he followed Brother Leg toward the outskirts of the starter village. However, once they formed their party and reached the slime area, they saw a gunslinger in a black trench coat, taking them down one by one, slaughtering the slimes. Seeing this, Brother Leg was surprised. Are slimes really this easy to kill? Brother Leg immediately rushed forward to kill a monster, but the moment his sword hit the slime, he realized that he was wrong. Holy shit, why are these slimes so hard to kill? Brother Leg started cursing up a storm. He had just watched me kill them, basically one shot, one kill. But as a swordsman, when he hacked at them, he had to land several hits just to kill one. What frustrated him even more was that killing a slime only gave them a tiny bit of experience. When on Earth will I ever reach level 2? And in their party, there was also someone who chose the gunslinger class. Seeing me one-shot them, he thought he could too. But after firing several shots, he barely scratched the slime. He didn't even draw its aggro. After witnessing the gap, 2AG watched my play, and the more he saw, the more discouraged he felt. Why the hell is that guy's accuracy so high? Holy crap, is he even human? Could this guy be from some special forces unit? After 2AG pointed it out, Qingjian also realized it. It's not entirely impossible. Then, he stepped forward and asked, "Brother, your aim is incredible, but as far as I know, killing slimes after level 2 doesn't give any experience, right?" Hearing this, I glanced at him and replied indifferently, "There's no experience, but I have a quest." As soon as I said that, 2AGE looked at Qingjian with a questioning gaze. "Wait, something's wrong. Qingjian, didn't you say there were no quests in the novice village? Were you fooled by some rumors?" Qingjian was now starting to doubt if the intelligence from above was wrong. "Aren't there quests in this novice village?" Seeing that they stopped talking, I frowned and asked, "What do you want?" Qingjian gave an awkward laugh. "Haha, don't take this the wrong way, buddy. We're also new players. We were wondering if you could carry us through some slimes so we can hit level 2 and leave the novice village." After hearing Qingjian's explanation, I nodded. They are official representatives, after all. I should show them some respect. In my previous life, if the officials hadn't stepped in to maintain order, China would have been like other countries, becoming a lawless wasteland. And the reason I managed to survive in my previous life was thanks to the protection of the Chinese officials. Now, just helping them level up is a small matter. Then, I sent them a party invitation. Soon, Qingjian, 2AG, and a few other members joined my party. What followed was a one-sided slaughter. In less than 10 minutes, Qingjian and the other 6 reached level 2. But at this moment, Qingjian began to wonder. Although being carried to level up felt great, he felt something was off. Logically, he should be the one leading the group to level up. Seeing this, I spoke up directly. "You're all level 2 now. If you want to leave the novice village, go ahead. I still need to farm slimes." After saying that, I immediately left the party. Qingjian and the others thanked me and headed toward the withered wood forest. After another 10 minutes of slaughter, I finally killed 1,000 slimes, letting my slime devour them all. The originally pitch-black slime began to change. The slime now revealed blood-red skin. Congratulations! Slime has successfully evolved into blood slime. Current blood slime level 2. Star level 1 star. Species type, mimicry, undead, symbiotic, stamina, 7,400. Attributes will inherit all of the master's attributes. Skill mimicry, can simulate simple weapons, equipment, or even physical forms. Can merge with the master's body to enhance attributes. Skill, can devour corpses, with a chance to decompose attributes and skills to feed back to the host. Note, this skill can be upgraded in stars. Currently a 1-star skill. The higher the star level, the better the skills and attributes obtained. When I saw the effect of the devour skill, I was completely stunned. This skill is freaking insane. Whether it's skills or attributes, they are extremely rare in the early game, especially free attribute points, which are crucial early on. You see, attribute points can only be obtained through leveling up. If you want extra attribute points, you need to kill special bosses. I didn't expect this slime evolution to give me such a huge surprise. After putting the blood slime away, I prepared to leave the novice village. My top priority right now is reaching level 5, and then unlocking dungeon gameplay. On the other side, in the withered wood forest, finally, level 3. Inu took a deep breath. After seeing she was level 3, she immediately opened the level rankings. To her surprise, that Eastern Canon King had already reached level 4. How is this guy leveling up so fast? I can't accept this. Inu gritted her teeth. Level 4. Huh? I'll catch up to you soon. Then Inu put all the attribute points she gained from leveling into strength. Next, she activated her 7-star skill, Divine Stealth, and pounced toward the next purple zombie. At the same time, in another part of the Withered Wood Forest, Tuage glanced at the rankings while resting. He suddenly couldn't sit still. Qingjian, that guy has already hit level 4. Hearing this, Qingjian frowned slightly. Just focus on killing the purple zombies. After level 5 we can go hunt white zombies. Qingjian, why don't we farm separately? Tuage suggested. While they were in a party, the purple zombies were easy to kill, but the experience had to be split among everyone. As soon as he said this, the others in the party nodded one after another, agreeing with him. The people following Qingjian in this group were all high-end players from various games. If this continued, they would always be lagging behind others. After thinking for a moment, Qingjian also agreed. Fine, but I have a few things to warn you about. Do everything you can to avoid dying. Don't think that dying just means losing a bit of lifespan and that's it. The monsters that kill you can evolve using your lifespan. The group split into 2 teams and started racing to level up. Half an hour later, after Inu raised her level to 4, she was completely exhausted. Casting 7-star skills continuously for an hour had completely drained her stamina. However, when Inu saw Eastern Canon King's name had already reached level 5, she felt a surge of panic. How is this guy leveling up? She hadn't rested for a single second. This guy called Eastern Canon King. Just how is he leveling up so fast? You have to realize that purple zombies don't gather in groups. They are scattered throughout the Withered Wood Forest. She relied on Divine Stealth, doubling her speed while hidden, to quickly find purple zombies in the forest and assassinate them. But how on earth did this Eastern Canon King do it? Can he really create clones? Meanwhile, I was sitting on a rock. A dozen purple zombie corpses were piled in front of me. To kill these purple zombies, I barely had to lift a finger. The 2 white zombies behind me just steamrolled through. Until the moment they died, the purple zombies couldn't understand why their own boss wanted them dead. Redemption. I whispered the command. 5 purple zombies, already stone cold, suddenly stirred. Redemption successful. Current undead subordinates: 25. Purple zombies: 22. White zombies: 2. Blood Mother: 1. Current additional stamina bonus: 43,000. I was extremely satisfied with my current terrifying stamina bonus. As expected, the absurdity of a title far outweighs any gear or skill. Now, it only takes about 2 shots to instantly kill a purple zombie. It's time to open the dungeon. I'm now confident I can speedrun a 2-star dungeon. In my past life, this dungeon was discovered by Qingjian and his crew after they reached level 5. After discovering it, they successfully claimed the first clear reward. You have to realize dungeon monsters aren't like these ordinary ones, who only drop experience and lifespan. The items dropped by those monsters are at least 2-star skills and equipment. I recall the condition to open the dungeon is to kill a specific special monster. With that in mind, I sent out a mental command. Go find them immediately. Those monsters acting suspiciously. Do not kill them once found. Notify me first. As soon as I spoke, over 20 purple zombies under my command scattered in all directions. I kept only 1 white zombie and the Blood Mother by my side, just in case. But right then, the Blood Mother suddenly let out 2 cries. Then it started hopping around the remaining purple zombie corpses, as if asking for my permission. It's all yours. After getting my consent, the Blood Mother's body instantly expanded and swallowed over a dozen purple zombies whole. Blood Mother devoured several purple zombies, granting you 3 free attribute points. Seeing this, I immediately put those 3 points into independent attack. At this point, my status panel had reached a truly luxurious level. Nickname: Eastern Canon King. Level 5. Class: Sharpshooter. Stamina: 43,000.
Mana? 150.
Strength: 8. Intelligence: 5. Armor: 6. Magic resist: 6. Speed: 1.4. Independent attack: 51. Own lifespan: 58 years, 25 days. Tradable lifespan: 162 years, 10 days. 1-star skill, quick draw. 3-star skill, earthly rejuvenation, based on the ratios from my past life. Every 1 point of independent attack increases weapon and skill damage by 2%. I'm currently using the starter weapon, with the bonus from the title's passive skill, corrosion. My basic attacks deal around 400 damage. Adding the independent attack bonus, my damage jumps straight to 800. As for strength, intelligence, and the dual resists, there's absolutely no need to invest in them. Sharpshooters don't benefit from strength or intelligence. Dual resists are only for those with low stamina, and stamina is the one thing I have in abundance. Just as I was basking in this joy, an announcement rang in my ear. Player Inoue has killed the special zombie. Opening the dungeon, Green Zombie's graveyard. What the hell? How was it her who opened it? This caught me off guard. Once I snapped out of it, I immediately rushed toward the dungeon entrance. At that moment, Inoue was also stunned by the notification. Did she hear that correctly? She had somehow opened a dungeon out of nowhere. You are the first player on the server to open a hidden dungeon. Received 10 free attribute points. Received 1 random 1-star piece of equipment. Received 10 years of non-tradable lifespan. But seeing the rewards for opening the dungeon, Inoue burst out laughing. Looks like the heavens are on my side. Eastern Canon King. Just you wait. Once I loot some great gear from this dungeon, I'll kill you so many times you'll be too scared to leave the starter village. With that thought, Inoue immediately arrived at the dungeon entrance. Dungeon difficulty selection, normal. Hell, King. Inoue initially wanted to choose King, but when she saw her remaining lifespan was only about 20 years, she thought it over and decided to test the waters with normal difficulty first. Meanwhile, Qingjian, who had just reached level 3, was also baffled by the notification. What's going on? Why has the dungeon already opened? Wasn't it said that special monsters would only appear in the Deadwood Forest after a player reached level 5? So Qingjian glanced at the leaderboard. The number 1 rank, Eastern Canon King, had already reached level 5. Qingjian couldn't help but marvel at how fast this guy leveled up. And following right behind him on the leaderboard was the person who opened the dungeon, Inoue. In an instant, Qingjian felt a massive headache coming on. Logically, as someone with first-hand insider information, an official like him should be the backbone of the dungeon, leading the players to clear it. But why were there so many wild cards on his end? Just then, Tuegu sent a message through the friends chat. Qingjian, wanna go check out the dungeon? Seeing this, Qingjian replied immediately, let's go. If we don't go, those guys will definitely mess things up. These aren't ordinary dungeons. If too many people enter without killing the boss, the dungeon will level up, and the difficulty will increase. If it still can't be cleared after leveling up, could lead to terrifying consequences. Meanwhile, I was also rushing to the dungeon. I knew exactly what happens when a dungeon remains uncleared for too long. In my past life, there was a starter village where, after failing to clear a dungeon over a dozen times, the roles of attacker and defender were suddenly reversed. The entrance became the exit. A massive horde of monsters poured out of the dungeon and absolutely slaughtered the players. Upon arriving at the dungeon entrance, I found that Qingjian, Tuegu, and a few others had already arrived. Seeing me arrive, Qingjian hurriedly said, that woman entered normal mode. No need to worry. With her strength, clearing it shouldn't be a problem. I know Inoue's personality well. I originally thought she would choose King difficulty. I didn't expect her to go with normal. Looks like I'll just have to wait. Wait for what? You can enter normal mode right now, Tuegi said in confusion, looking at the lit-up normal mode. Hearing this, I shook my head. Normal mode is a waste of time. Having been reborn, I know very well that normal mode is just for players to practice. Experts can clear it easily. Average players with some good coordination can also clear it in a party. As for why it's so simple, it's because in normal mode, there is no final boss, the green zombie. At most, there's just one white zombie. Without killing the boss, it can't be counted as a first clear. Then Tuegi pressed further. If not normal mode, then which mode do you want? Hard. I paused for a moment before saying, King. The moment he heard I wanted to enter King mode, Qingjian couldn't sit still. Don't forget about King mode until you hit level 10. Before entering the dungeon, the higher-ups had warned Qingjian repeatedly, never choose King level after opening a dungeon, because the monsters in King mode possess truly devastating attacks. Even a common purple zombie can one-shot a player. But after hearing Qingjian Jian's words. I simply shook my head. If I weren't confident, I wouldn't have made this choice. Just then, the normal mode option lit up. Then, a figure with critically low HP emerged. She failed. I'm going in first. After saying that, I took a step forward and chose the king-level dungeon without hesitation. Seeing this, Qing Jian tried to stop me, but he was a step too late. This left Qing Jian absolutely fuming. Holy crap, how could he just go in? That's a king-level dungeon. Isn't he just committing suicide? I almost wiped in a normal dungeon. He's literally seeking death. A sudden female voice left Qing Jian stunned. Who are you? Hearing this, Inoue calmly uttered two words. Inoue. Hearing that name, Qing Jian was also taken aback. You're the one who opened the dungeon, right? Inoue shook her head helplessly. Couldn't clear it. There are too many purple zombies inside, and they're all level 5. The moment I attack, I'm locked onto by a swarm of them. Moreover, their damage is extremely high. Without a tank class, it's impossible to survive. Hearing this, Qing Jian felt things had become serious. Inoue should be the strongest player on this server, aside from the Eastern Canon King. If even she can't clear normal mode, then the difficulty of this dungeon is unimaginable. Meanwhile, I had just entered the king mode. Green zombies graveyard. Thick fog shrouded everything. Dilapidated tombstones were faintly visible. The air was filled with the stench of decay and a sinister chill. Along with a loud roar, countless purple zombies closed in on me. These purple zombies moved with incredible speed. In an instant, they had me surrounded. Unfazed, I simply snapped my fingers. Come fort, protect the master. As the words fell, over 20 undead purple zombies surged from the ground. They began a massacre of their former kin. -791, -802, successfully killed level 5 purple zombie. EXP plus 300, lifespan plus 5 years. Although these purple zombies were strong, they were still just mindless husks. Against undead purple zombies, they were like paper. They were wiped out in a matter of seconds. Just as I was about to move forward, I noticed the toxic air was draining my stamina. Stamina -52. Seeing the double-digit drain per second, I couldn't help but curse. No wonder they said king mode requires priest class to clear. With this rate of consumption, even the strongest tank couldn't hold out. You have to realize that in this beginner village, except for me, other players' stamina barely reaches a few hundred. After entering this king-level green zombie graveyard, they'd be sent back to the respawn point in 10 seconds. King mode is indeed perilous, but with my current stats, I'm safe enough. At the same time, I discovered that my undead army seems to be immune to the toxins in the air, and if I want to find the final boss, the green zombie, in this graveyard, these toxic gases actually make it easier. The more health I lose in a direction, the heavier the toxin. And the green zombie is where the toxin is strongest. As I went deeper, white zombies began to appear, but they still couldn't do much damage to me. White zombie -810. Killed level 7 white zombie. EXP plus 3000. Lifespan plus 20 years. Level increased to 6. Congratulations on killing the white zombie. Obtained 3-star equipment. Bone ring. Seeing this, I didn't hesitate for a second. Now that I've reached level 6, my undead subordinate limit has increased by 5. Redemption. Redemption successful. Level 7 white zombie plus 1. After adding the white zombie to my collection, I looked at the dropped equipment. 3-star equipment. Bone ring. Magic resist plus 20. Poison resistance plus 50. Undead damage taken reduced by 30%. As expected of a king-level dungeon. The drop rate is indeed high. I am, bone ring, very satisfied, especially that poison resistance. In the early game, poisoning is the most common abnormal status. With this poison resistance bonus, the poison damage I take per second is reduced to 1/10 of the original. Stamina -13. To counter this poison damage, Great Earth Spring, restore 3% every 10 seconds of max stamina. It may seem small, but my stamina pool is massive. My current stamina has reached 70,200. 3% of over 70,000 max stamina every 10 seconds means automatically recovering over 2,000 stamina. With this recovery speed, combined with the equipment bonus, surviving until the end shouldn't be a problem. And just then, a deafening roar suddenly echoed from the distance. The sound seemed as if it would tear the void apart. After the roar subsided, I slowly looked up. I saw a towering hill facing me in the distance. A black coffin hung upon that hill. In that moment, I felt a genuine sense of danger. Another roar erupted from the hill. Then a terrifying surge of corpse chi spread out like a shockwave. HP minus 562. I was completely stunned. This damage, this definitely overlord level, just this corpse chi shockwave, could wipe out all the players in the beginner village. The black coffin lid suddenly burst open. A dark shadow leaped out like lightning. The green zombie landed, crushing the ground as a cloud of dust erupted around it. Its cloudy eyes scanned the area, finally locking onto me. Green zombie, level 10, 2-star boss. Due to dungeon difficulty, actual strength is 3-star. HP, 52,000. Strength, 350. Intelligence, 7. Armor, 280. Magic resist, 280. Speed, 5.1. Skill, Green Blast. Fills the body with corpse chi and detonates. Deals 250 physical damage. Skill, Corpse Chi. Corpse Chi transforms into a wave of energy. Deals 50 physical damage to enemies in range. These skills seem low in damage, but physical damage is boosted by strength. If not for the HP bonus from my title, one shockwave would have sent me to the afterlife. Just as I finished checking the green zombie's info, it unleashed a wave of corpse chi. With a speed of 5.1. It hit me almost instantaneously. HP minus 1,140. Quick! Quick! Someone protect me. As soon as I spoke, over 20 purple zombies, led by 3 white zombies, lunged straight at the green zombie. The green zombie saw that the zombies, who were once subservient, dared to attack it, and flew into a rage. It opened its mouth and spat out massive amounts of corpse chi. The corpse chi collided with the purple zombies, kicking up clouds of dust. Meanwhile, in the beginner village, that guy called Eastern Cannon King had actually already reached level 6. His leveling speed is insane. How on earth did he level up so fast? Our party still needs to kill 10 more purple zombies just to hit level 3. In the beginner village, many players were watching Eastern Cannon King. After all, this guy offended young Master Chun. He might be riding high now, but he'll still face a miserable reality once he logs out. When others have money and power in the real world, crushing you is as easy as crushing an ant. And right now, young Master Chun was frantically searching for something in his info panel, his expression growing more grim by the second. This is impossible. What the hell is going on? Where is the quit button? Young Master Chen's panicked scream immediately drew everyone's attention. What's wrong with you? What's happening? Young Master Chun was frantically scrolling through his info panel. Where is my exit button? I can't log out of the game. The moment young Master Chun spoke, everyone around him froze. They all scrambled to check their own character interfaces. I don't have it either. Could it be a system glitch? Hearing the commotion around him, young Master Chun became even more frantic. He had planned to use his family connections after logging out to contact the executives of Jutian World and find out the identity of the one called Eastern Cannon King. Who exactly this person is. Once his real-world identity was revealed, with the power of the Chun family, dealing with him would be effortless. But now he couldn't find the exit button no matter what. Compared to these panicked players, the scene at the dungeon entrance was entirely different. That guy reached level 6? How is that possible? Inoue looked at the leaderboard, unable to believe her own eyes. Tuji was equally stunned when he saw it. Could this kid be like us? After watching the trailer, did he get some insane equipment or skill? Not sure. Qingjian was also starting to lose his cool, fearing their gear would drop upon death. They had all chosen 7-star skills. Hearing Tuiji's words, Inoue glanced at them. From the sound of your voice, it seems you already knew that there would be special rewards for watching the trailer. Tuiji was taken aback for a moment, then immediately denied it. I was just guessing, just talking nonsense. Inoue narrowed her eyes, a dangerous glint flashing in her eyes as she looked at Tuiji. Tuiji immediately surrendered, spilling everything he knew. Don't ask me. I heard it from Qingjian. He's with the officials. Seeing this, Qingjian said helplessly, I only heard it from the higher-ups, and this information was only given to me after the game servers launched. I only entered the game after hearing it, which is why I'm a bit late. Qingjian didn't want to hide too much. In fact, there was no need to hide it. When the first batch of players returns to reality, everything will change. Inoue was confused, then suddenly realized something. If it's not the game developers, then it can only be the government. But it's just a game. Why would the government get involved? No matter how well-made or realistic Jution is, a game is still just a game. What could it possibly affect? I know you're confused, but I can't explain it to you clearly. Why don't you look for yourself? Do you really think you can log out of this game? After Qing Jian spoke, Inoue scanned her own info panel. Sure enough, there was no exit interface. Now she was truly rattled. You know something, don't you? Tell me right now. Seeing Inoue press him, Qing Jian gave a bitter smile. I'm not entirely sure either, but I do know. To return to reality, you must reach level 5. Inoue was stunned. Must be level 5 to return? Qing Jian nodded firmly. You must be level 5. Both of them fell silent, looking simultaneously at the top of the leaderboard. Back inside the dungeon, the green zombie was being swarmed. After several rounds of attacks, its HP had dropped to 20%. The green zombie tried to burst through and attack me, but the purple and white zombies surrounding it had almost completely blocked all its movements. Even if it managed to crush these purple zombies, I could just resurrect them on the spot the next second. What I'm looking forward to most right now is the scene after I redeem this boss. However, just as the green zombie's HP was about to hit 0, a notification suddenly popped up. The green zombie's bloodline erupted, evolving into a hairy zombie. Seeing the notification, I was completely stunned. A last-minute breakthrough? Isn't that a privilege reserved for novel protagonists? You're a boss, why are you doing a deathbed evolution? But Brother Chong once said, the bigger the storm, the more valuable the fish. I'm definitely redeeming this boss. Then I dove straight into the fray. Using my revolver, I unleashed an attack on the hairy zombie. Although the evolved hairy zombies' physical and magic defense had nearly doubled, the damage from the corrosion skill in my title ignores all defenses. It's been so long. He still hasn't come out. Could he be dead? Tueji asked Qing Jian beside him. Hearing this, Qing Jian grew suspicious too. After reaching level 6, there really hasn't been any movement from him. But just as they were talking, Tueji suddenly noticed a change in the level rankings. Am I seeing this right? That guy suddenly jumped 2 levels. He's already level 8. Tueji stared at Eastern Canon King and the level 8 next to it, questioning his entire existence. Upon hearing this, Qing Jian and Inoue quickly looked toward the rankings. He actually reached level 8. How is that even possible? Inoue couldn't believe her eyes. In normal mode, even with a 7-star skill, she didn't even catch a glimpse of the final boss. If she hadn't reacted quickly and left the dungeon early, she might have perished inside. Tueji felt completely defeated now. He was a veteran high-end player with over a decade of experience, but this gap was just too vast. Qing Jian, don't you know some inside information? But this gap is just too vast. Qing Jian, don't you know some inside information? What on earth is going on? Is this Eastern Canon King also one of your insiders? Qing Jian's mind was a whirlwind of emotions. He never expected Eastern Canon King to be this terrifying, but he remembered the superiors telling him that in Novice Village 5267, he was the only insider. It must be because king-level dungeons give more experience, which allowed him to jump 2 levels. Inoue's expression darkened. She had to hurry up and level up. With that thought, Inoue went invisible and began searching for prey in the Deadwood Forest to level up. Meanwhile, inside the dungeon, you have slain the hairy zombie. EXP plus 10,440. Lifespan plus 100 years. Congratulations on becoming the first player to slay the hairy zombie and clear the king-level dungeon. Free attribute points plus 40. A server-wide announcement is about to be issued. Hide name? I said indifferently, no need. Then, I looked at the loot from the hairy zombie. 1-star skill upgrade books X10. 2-star skill upgrade books X3. Random class skill book X1. 2-star armor set gift box X1. Looking at such generous rewards, I felt extremely satisfied. But what excited me the most was the hairy zombie lying on the ground. Without hesitation,
Isho's Redemption.
redemption failed. Remaining redemption attempts too. I was momentarily stunned. I've redeemed so many undead. Yet this is the first time I've faced a failure. Refusing to believe it, I tried again. Redemption failed. Remaining redemption attempts. 1. Seeing that only 1 chance remained, I felt a surge of panic. If this hairy zombie's redemption fails, it will be a massive loss. From our clash just now, I realized this hairy zombie, like Blood Mum, possesses its own consciousness. Clearly, the hairy zombie is unwilling to accept being ganged up on and killed. Thinking of this, I spoke slowly. I know you're not convinced, but there is no such thing as fairness in this world. Summoning those purple zombies was my skill and my capability. At this point, I took another deep breath. If you're still unwilling, then there's nothing I can do. But once redemption fails, you will vanish from this world forever. The Jutian world is vast. Don't you want to go explore it with me? With that said, I unleashed the final redemption. Redemption successful. Congratulations. You have obtained a level 10 hairy zombie. Undead Legion limit 40. Current undead count 26.
Bonus stamina 120,000.
Seeing my 120,000 stamina, I couldn't help but laugh out loud. With 120,000 max stamina, I should be invincible in the novice village. Furthermore, the damage dealt by the Undead Legion is influenced by my stamina, adding a direct 1,200 true damage. With this kind of defense and attack, do I even need equipment? Thinking of this, I checked my backpack. There were 2 gift packs inside. Class weapon selection box, 2-star armor set. Besides those, I had also farmed in the dungeon a large amount of 1-star gear and a few 2-star pieces. But unfortunately, none of the weapons were for the sharpshooter. Then I opened the weapon selection box. Immediately, 4 weapons appeared before my eyes. Hand cannon. Weapon selection begins. You could say this is a half-step class advancement. Choosing the revolver means following the ranger path. This class relies on agility and critical hits. This gunplay is flashy, but it heavily depends on the player's skill. Without a massive amount of resources, it's basically impossible to deal significant damage. As for the rifle and the handgun, they correspond to the physical type. Munitions expert and the magic type magic bullet shooter. The hand cannon is for the artilleryman. I glanced at the crowd of undead subordinates beside me. I don't lack damage output anymore. Therefore, I decisively chose the revolver. Congratulations. You have obtained a 1-star weapon, Western Shooter. Western Shooter deals 50 physical damage. Weapon effect, speed increased by 10%. To be honest, this weapon is just okay. Then I opened that class skill book. Congratulations. You have obtained the 4-star skill, Dual Wielding. When I saw dual wielding, my eyes widened in shock. Isn't this the god-tier skill of the sharpshooter from my past life? In the Jutian world, regardless of the class, one can only equip a single weapon. Even with dual swords, you only get the bonus from one weapon, but this dual gun skill allows a sharpshooter to benefit from both weapon stats. Once this skill appeared, almost every sharpshooter went wild for it. Seeing this, I didn't hesitate to learn it. Then I glanced at the remaining skill upgrade books. An upgraded quick draw straight to 3 stars, a 60% increase in firing speed. I also used a 3-star book on earthly rejuvenation, upgrading the skill to 4 stars, restoring 4% of max HP every 10 seconds, upgraded to 4 stars, restoring 4% of max HP every 10 seconds. Recovery effects double after leaving combat. Then I put all 80 of my attribute points into independent attack. Now, my independent attack has reached 136 points. After finishing this, I exited the dungeon. At that moment, a server-wide announcement rang out. Congratulations to player Dongfang Powang for the first clear of the king-level dungeon Green Zombies Graveyard. When they saw this notice, players who hadn't even reached level 3 were stunned. I'm not even level 3 yet, and you're already soloing dungeons? Is this even humanly possible? Could he be cheating? Meanwhile, on the other side, Qing Jian and his group also heard the clear announcement. They froze on the spot, looking at each other in disbelief. 2AGE just gave a thumbs up. Though he had no idea how the guy did it, he knew for sure he couldn't. While they were still in shock, I stepped out of the dungeon. Qingjian's expression was complicated when he saw me. He had so many questions he wanted to ask, but as the words reached his lips, he couldn't bring himself to speak. He desperately wanted to know how Lin Zhang cleared it. You have to realize, from the moment Lin Zhang entered, until he finished, it took less than an hour. And seeing everyone waiting at the dungeon entrance, I was somewhat speechless. Why are you all just standing here? Aren't you going to level up? Hearing this, Qing Jian and 2AG exchanged a glance, and immediately prepared to hunt purple zombies for XP. Watching them walk away, I fell into deep thought. This life is already different from my previous one. I wonder if Qing Jian can once again Lead the charge for this beginner village. If not, I can carry him through some levels. On the other side, after seeing the announcement, Inoue began slaughtering purple zombies even more frantically, relying on the assassin's extreme burst damage. In just half an hour, she had already reached level 5. The logout button only appears after level 5, but looking at the logout button on her status panel, Inoue paused. To leave or not to leave? After a brief hesitation, she chose to find the white zombies in the withered wood forest to test her damage. She'd log off once she was sure she could challenge the dungeon. Meanwhile, I also began exploring the withered wood forest. I remember that the withered wood forest doesn't just have the green zombies graveyard as its only dungeon. However, just as I stepped into the forest, a sharp, piercing scream hit my ears. A hairy green zombie charged out from the depths of the forest. My brow furrowed. I had a feeling this green zombie was different from the ones I'd encountered before, because it actually had iron hooks on both arms. Why is a green zombie appearing in the beginner village? Monsters of this level shouldn't only appear inside dungeons? I didn't attack rashly, as I wasn't sure what was going on with this creature. But right then, the green zombie noticed me, suddenly threw its head back and roared. The sound echoed throughout the withered forest, as if sending a warning to someone. I stood my ground, quietly observing the creature.
Hidden quest triggered.
Secrets of the world. Completion reward. Lost treasure map fragment. Do you accept? What kind of quest is this? I racked my brain for memories of my past life, but I couldn't recall anything about a quest called Secrets of the World. Moreover, it looked like a chain quest. Since it's a hidden quest, a special item must be involved. Congratulations. You have accepted the hidden quest Secrets of the World. The moment I accepted the quest, the ferocious green zombie's body instantly vaporized. Then, a glowing golden fragment fell into my hand.
Hidden quest description.
Upon accepting this quest, you will receive one lost treasure map fragment. Detection. You possess a lost treasure map fragment. You are now considered an enemy of the Jutian Alliance. The Jutian Alliance will dispatch armies to hunt you down. Please prepare yourself for death. Holy what the hell? Seeing this system message, I couldn't help but curse out loud. I might not know what the lost treasure is, but I know exactly who the Jutian Alliance is. The so-called Jutian world fusion of game and reality actually means our world was merged into the Jutian world, and the most powerful force in this world is the Jutian Alliance. By joining the Jutian Alliance and paying a massive longevity fee, one can obtain their protection. But if you refuse, you will be branded a heretic and hunted to the ends of the earth. In my past life, I fought these bastards in a bloody all-out war. Even if I want to avoid trouble, I will never collude with the Jutian Alliance. But then again, why didn't I hear about the lost treasure map in my past life? This felt strange to me. Let's level up first. I immediately summoned the purple zombies. The hunt begins. The swarm of purple zombies let out excited shrieks and charged in all directions. If you encounter any monsters acting strange, don't kill them. Bring them all back to me. The roars of the purple zombies seemed to be in response. At the same time, players who joined later had mostly reached level 3. Seemed to be in response. At the same time, players who joined later had mostly reached level 2, preparing to head into the withered wood forest. Beginners, they glanced at the leaderboard. Some beginners have already reached level 8. Someone's already level 8. The monsters outside the beginner village can't be that scary. Then, they were suddenly teleported back to the respawn point. This made them question their very existence. Looking at the top of the leaderboard, Dongfang Powang, and recalling the damage from those purple zombies. Those monsters have high damage, massive HP, and thick hides. Aside from being brainless, they have almost no weaknesses. How did you reach level 8 so quickly? At this moment, the players who just joined saw many players looking completely devastated and confused. Why aren't you guys going out to grind mobs? In response to their questions, those players told them the truth, that this game cannot be exited, and they warned them that if their lifespan hits 0, they will actually die. How can this be? There really is no exit button. If you die, you're really dead. What kind of game is this? The players are starting to wail in despair. Just then, Then Inoue, who reached level 5, returned to the beginner village. Seeing the despair on their faces, she spoke bluntly, "You can exit the game once you reach level 5. Hearing they could return to reality, hope ignited within the crowd of players. They immediately began forming teams and started heading toward the withered wood forest. Inoue looked at Eastern Canon King, her eyes gleaming. She had planned to leave as soon as she hit level 5 and warn other players not to enter the game. But when she saw Eastern Canon King's level, an uncontrollable fighting spirit surged within her. Meanwhile, I was still grinding levels in the withered wood forest. You have slain a level 2 purple zombie. EXP plus 100. Tradable lifespan plus 1 year. Redeem? I chose to fill the empty slots of my titles. Unfortunately, each dungeon can only be cleared once a day. Otherwise, I could hit level 10 much faster and complete my first class advancement. After that, I glanced back toward the beginner village. Once a player reaches level 10, NPCs selling potions and equipment will appear in the village, and the auction house will open, and I happen to have a pile of gear saved up. But then again, what exactly is this lost treasure map fragment for? I opened the map fragment in my inventory again. According to my memories from my past life, this thing never even existed. Could it be related to my rebirth? I remember in my past life, Zhang Jian and I entered a dungeon as a team. It was only a 5-star dungeon. The dungeon we entered as a team, it was only a 5-star dungeon, but the monsters inside were terrifyingly strong. We didn't even have a chance to fight back. Did I trigger something when I died that sent me back 5 years? And what's even stranger is, my memory of the monsters and the terrain of that dungeon is very blurry. I only remember the name of the dungeon, the Undead Labyrinth. Although the monsters were powerful that time, as long as we followed my strategy, we definitely could have cleared it. But that bastard Zhang Jian, while I was drawing the monster's attention, he ran away with the rest of the team. Just thinking about him makes my blood boil. An ungrateful idiot like that. And I actually spent over 2 years adventuring with him. Especially the words Zhang Jian said before abandoning me. I still remember them to this day. It's better if just you die than for all of us to perish. At that time, the world I lived in had completely become part of the Zhutian Alliance. After any player died, unless they had a special item to save them, death was permanent. Now that I've been reborn in this life, I will definitely settle the score with that bastard. Then I thought of the Zhutian Alliance. That exorbitant lifespan tax almost suffocated everyone. Either you work yourself to death, living like cattle under the Alliance's protection, or you don't pay. Then you end up on the Zhutian Alliance's blacklist and are hunted down by them. In my past life, I didn't have any cheats. During the early game in the beginner village, I was incredibly unlucky. Because of that, the top of the leaderboards was out of reach. But in the later stages, I finally found my footing through sheer hard work. But facing the established guilds, I still felt so small and powerless. If you kill a monster and get something worth 10,000 years of life, powerful players will mark you immediately and hunt you down. Then they'll trade with you for 500 years of life. If you refuse, they'll just kill you. Even if you pay the Zhutian Alliance's tax, don't expect them to protect you. You paid. The person killing you also paid. That's your own problem. If you didn't pay, it's even better. They'll just kill you outright. Things like this, I've experienced more than once. But this life is different. I will become powerful. More powerful than the Zhutian Alliance itself. The Lost Treasure Map Fragment. Possessing this makes you a mortal enemy of the Zhutian Alliance. But why? I don't quite understand. If gathering these fragments leads to a treasure, and that treasure is exactly what the Zhutian Alliance doesn't want anyone to find, then things get interesting. You want to hide it? Then Lin Zhang, will make sure it stays uncovered. 1 hour later, inside the withered wood forest. Congratulations. Your level has increased to 9. All stat points into independent attack. Keep leveling up. Meanwhile, in the beginner village, look at the leaderboard. Big Shot Canon King is already level 9. This is insane. Do you guys know who Canon King is? We're exhausted from grinding. Maybe we should ask Canon King to carry us? As soon as he spoke, the crowd fell silent. Ever since Eastern Canon King left the village, except for one time he came back to kill slimes, he basically hasn't returned. Then someone else said, even if the Big Shot were willing to carry us, how would we pay him? Does anyone here have tradable lifespan? Another wave of silence. Those who can beat purple zombies don't need a carry, and those who can't beat them can't obtain lifespan from them. We can't expect the big shot to work for free, right? Look at the rankings. Besides Cannon King and Inoue, other players have already reached level 4. Third on the leaderboard, Qingjian Yixing. Fourth on the leaderboard, Brother Leg. These players seem to have entered the game later than us, yet they're leveling up even faster. They must be pro players. Let's ask them to carry us. Soon, the group found Qingjian Yixing and explained their situation to him. As for these people, Qingjian Yixing initially wanted to refuse, because carrying these players would definitely waste a lot of time, and their time is precious. But glancing at the leaderboard, he realized he couldn't keep up. You and I can take turns carrying them. Qingjian Yixing made his decision quickly. After all, no matter how hard he tried, he couldn't catch up. Sure, Brother Leg nodded in agreement, but then he had a second thought. With so many people, how much of my EXP will be split? Brother Leg was also a pro. He didn't want to fall behind the others either. Just then, Iron Hammer in the team said with a grin, "Don't worry, you carry one round, then I'll carry the next. Once I hit level 4, I'll be able to wipe out these purple zombies with ease." With that, the group disbanded and began taking in other players. Meanwhile, through the information sent back by the purple zombies, I discovered that Qingjian and his crew were leading others to grind levels. It made me sigh. You people are exactly the same as in my previous life, leading others without charging a single cent. Then I opened my contact list and sent a message to Qingjian. "I'll carry you through the green zombie graveyard dungeon." Upon receiving this, Qingjian froze for a while before reacting. "What lifespan do you want in return? Let's be clear, we don't have much." Seeing this, I replied, "No need. It's free." Hearing it was free, Qingjian found it hard to believe. In his experience, things that are free usually come with strings attached. Otherwise, wouldn't he just be helping for nothing? I could probably guess what he was thinking. Then why do you lead others for free? Qingjian remained silent for a long time before replying. Just then, an announcement echoed before all players. "Emergency notice. Player Inoue has broken the seal, triggering the early appearance of new monsters. All players, please be advised." As soon as the notice appeared, whether they were hunting purple zombies or staying in the beginner village, everyone was stunned. What's going on? They were already struggling with purple zombies, so how could a new monster suddenly appear? And this new monster, it sounds pretty powerful from the name. We're screwed. We haven't even figured out the purple zombies, and now new monsters are popping up. I was also quite surprised when I saw this message. I remember in my previous life, this seal only broke after players' levels had mostly reached level 5. I didn't expect it to happen so early in this life. The appearance of magic wolves and poison spiders means a new boss has emerged. This Inoue, I recall she leveled up alone in my previous life. The seals for monsters like magic wolves and poison spiders were discovered by some nameless players. How did it become her in this life? Could it be the butterfly effect caused by my rebirth? That's actually possible. However, this isn't necessarily a bad thing. In my previous life, the new players were too weak, which caused elite monsters to spawn one after another. But this life is different. I now possess sufficient strength. Thinking of this, I decided it was time to upgrade my undead legion. The speed of the magic wolf, the control of the poison spider, both are the combat powers I need right now. Meanwhile, Inoue, the one responsible, frowned slightly after seeing the seal she had broken. It seemed she had destroyed something quite significant. But what exactly are these magic wolves and poison spiders? Regardless, Inoue decided to leave the area. She needed to find a quiet place to recover her stamina and mana. Then Inoue sat upon a giant tree branch and closed her eyes to meditate. A sudden gust of wind howled past. Inoue snapped her eyes open. She saw a magic wolf charging toward her. The wolf was a blur of speed, pouncing in front of her in the blink of an eye. Inoue let out a cold snort. Her figure vanished instantly. A razor-sharp dagger pierced the magic wolf's throat in an instant. The massive magic wolf stopped breathing immediately. You have slain a magic wolf. Experience plus 500. Level increased to 7. Lifespan plus 5 years. Seeing the experience gained from the magic wolf, Inoue was completely stunned. This experience is equivalent to killing 5 purple zombies. Moreover, these magic wolves only have high speed and damage. Their stamina and defense are extremely weak. From her current perspective, it's almost 1 wolf per strike. Breaking this seal was perfectly timed. This way, she'll soon surpass that bastard called the Eastern Cannon King. Once they are the same level, she will definitely avenge that gunshot. Now, after Inoue killed the zombie magic wolf, I also received a notification. Zombie magic wolf has been slain. Spend 200 stamina to resurrect? I was instantly shocked. A magic wolf can actually be killed? Resurrect. After choosing to resurrect, Lin Zhang was filled with doubt. Was the magic wolf killed because it encountered a poison spider? In his memory, poison spiders are insidious, hiding their presence and setting invisible webs. Once prey steps in, they're stuck and toxins spread to paralyze the target. These creatures are incredibly troublesome. Once caught, there's only death. Neither weapons nor fire work. If the spider becomes my summon, my lineup will be perfect. Lin Zhang smiled. Magic wolf for the charge, poison spider for the control, hairy zombies and white zombies as tanks, and himself as the sharpshooter for long-range DPS. At that moment, several zombie magic wolves dragged the carcasses before him. Blood slime. Lin Zhang summoned. A blood-red slime appeared. Food is here. Mum mum. The blood slime chirped, its body morphing to wrap around the wolf's corpse. Blood slime devours magic wolf corpse. Free attribute points +5. Not bad. An average of 1 attribute point for every 2 corpses. Lin Zhang was pleased. Blood slime devours magic wolf corpse and grants you the skill. Pursuit. Skill? Lin Zhang was stunned. He knew the blood slime had a chance to grant skills upon devouring. In this time, the slime had eaten hundreds of monsters without a single skill, so he had forgotten about it. This reward was an unexpected surprise. Pursuit. Passive effect. Perception increased by 10%. Active effect. Lock on target. Pursuit increases movement speed by 20%. Active cooldown, 30 seconds. Star up. Seeing the effect, Lin Zhang immediately upgraded it. Consumed 2x 1-star skill upgrade books. 2-star skill upgrade book. Skill pursuit upgraded to 3-star. Passive effect. Perception increased by 80%. Active effect. Lock on target and pursue. Increases movement speed by 150%. After the upgrade, Lin Zhang felt his perception sharpen. His field of vision expanded more than twofold. His senses became acute, allowing him to hear the faintest sounds of the withered forest. Suddenly, Lin Zhang felt a sense of hostility. He immediately activated his title lock skill. Locked onto a withered tree. Nothing's there, but the title doesn't lie. Then, Lin Zhang raised his gun and aimed. Still not showing yourself? Inoue, the target, turned pale. How was my stealth seen through? Coincidence. Inoue moved to another tree. Lin Zhang aimed at her again. Hiding was pointless. Inoue revealed herself. It's me. I know it's you. Lin Zhang wasn't surprised. Only Inoue had stealth in the novice village. Who else could it be? Can you put the gun down? Looking at the gun and remembering being one-shot, Inoue panicked. What do you want with me? Lin Zhang lay on the ground, holding Blood Mumu like a plush toy. Nothing much. If you keep slacking, I'll catch up to your level. Inoue huffed, looking down on Lin Zhang's lazy demeanor. How do you know I haven't been hunting? Lin Zhang chuckled. As he spoke, another pile of demon wolf corpses appeared. Inoue's pupils dilated in shock. Demon wolf corpses, when did you? Mid-sentence, she thought of the zombie wolves and her eyes widened. Aren't you a sharpshooter? How can you summon monsters? Confused, Inoue looked at Lin Zhang with curiosity. A sharpshooter who summons monsters? What a weird combination. Lin Zhang rubbed his nose and said, "It's a secret." Inoue didn't press further. Strange, you're level 9, why haven't you returned to reality? What's the rush? Lin Zhang waved to Blood Mumu. Blood Mumu excitedly leaped onto the wolf corpses to devour them. This is a slime. Inoue finally noticed Blood Mumu. Under her gaze, Blood Mumu quickly digested the corpses. This is also your summon? Inoue's eyes went wide. Lin Zhang chuckled. What? Got a problem? Inoue watched the slime devour the monsters, then thought of his insane damage and suddenly understood. Does the slime absorb monster stats to buff Lin Zhang? Otherwise, that freakish damage makes no sense. So that's how it is. Inoue sneered, feeling relieved once she understood. Don't get cocky. There's a long road ahead. Inoue leaped onto another tree, her figure vanishing into stealth. Hey! Lin Zhang called out helplessly. Then he began hunting demon wolves in the withered forest. There were many wolves, but the hidden dungeon remained elusive. Using his title's ability, Lin Zhang slaughtered monsters every second, but as his level rose, the XP from low-level mobs plummeted. For instance, killing a purple zombie gave less than a fifth of the original XP. There weren't many high-level beasts left in the novice village. He wanted to hit level 10 today to unlock the hidden dungeon or spawn a hidden boss. Otherwise, he'd be stuck fighting white zombies. But hidden bosses in the novice village and dungeons depend on luck. Special conditions are also required. Clearly, Lin Zheng lacked such luck. Lin Zheng put away his revolver. I used to search alone, but now I have over 40 undead. I bet they can find the hidden boss. I remember from my past lives forums that some villages had hidden bosses, like the 1-star lightning spider king, a poisonous spider that evolved by consuming lightning. It weaves electric webs to paralyze prey before devouring them. This novice village is a pain. Once you leave, you can't come back. That's the rule of the Zhutian world. Lin Zheng desperately needed to find the lightning spider king and turn it into an undead servant. Swish, swish, swish. Lin Zheng darted through the forest, scanning vigilantly. Suddenly, his ears twitched. Damn. Pursuing. Using his perception, he whipped his head to the right. There, on a tree, was a poisonous spider as thick as a bowl. The spider didn't realize it had been spotted. Lin Zheng raised his hand and fired. HP minus 4,200. You have successfully slain the poisonous spider. XP plus 500. Tradable lifespan plus 6 years. Only 500? Lin Zheng frowned. I remember killing these gave at least 600 XP in my past life. Did the XP drop for level 9s killing low-level mobs? Forget it, doesn't matter. Redemption. Redemption successful. You obtained an undead poison spider. Army of the Dead upgraded to 45. At this rate, who knows how long it'll take to reach level 10. Lin Zheng was quite frustrated, because after level 10, the auction house opens, along with various NPCs selling potions and items. Of course, these are all bought using lifespan, and Lin Zheng needed a specific item for priority server merging. If he remembered correctly, the only novice village to fall on the first day was novice village number 4444. Lin Zheng had a deep impression of this village, because that village had a very special boss. Top-tier players who reached level 5 were one-shot by this boss, but this boss only appeared twice. Once in novice village number 4444, and once in village number 4443 after the merge. Lin Zheng saw there was only 1 hour left until the second day. He had to hit level 10 quickly to buy that item, but without special monsters to open a dungeon. How could he reach level 10 in such a short time? Just as he was worrying, an announcement rang out. Warning, player Inoue has awakened the slumbering lightning spider king. A swarm of poisonous spiders will emerge in the withered forest. All players are urged to accelerate the hunt. After 3 warnings, a new one appeared. Warning, the spiders are breeding rapidly. Their numbers may lead to an attack on the novice village. Another 3 warnings. But seeing this, Lin Zheng wasn't angry, he was thrilled. Holy SHT, Inoue's actually useful. She's handing me the solution on a silver platter. Back to a few minutes ago, Inoue used divine stealth, moving swiftly through the novice village. She suddenly discovered a cave. Experience told her not to enter, but to surpass Lin Zheng. She decided to sneak inside. The moment she stepped inside, she felt a pungent, fishy stench hit her nose. Hiss hiss. A giant poisonous spider crawled out from underground. Along with the giant spider came the sound of thunder emanating from its body. When Inoue saw it, her pupils shrank to pinpricks. Her face was filled with terror. The Lightning Spider King. The next second, the Spider King's stats appeared. Lightning Spider King 3-star boss. Level 10. HP 40,234. Strength 50. Intelligence 270. Armor 110. Magic resist 110. Speed 5.9. Independent attack 150. Skills: Lightning Mastery 3-star. Frenzied Thunder Breath 3-star. Lightning Spiderweb 3-star. Seeing the info, Inoue's lip twitched. At level 7 with gear, her HP was only 980. Even with all points in strength, she only had 56. But while the Spider King was clearly a magic-type boss, the strength still overwhelmed Inoue. However, she was experienced in actual combat. She frantically searched for a way out. Shink! She drew her dagger and slashed at the Spider King. Unfortunately, she underestimated the boss's power. The Spider King moved swiftly, easily dodging the lethal blow. Then, A lightning web formed and slammed onto Inoue. Paralyzed state. Damn it, I'm finished. Inoue was unwilling, but she was powerless. Just as she closed her eyes to accept death, she heard a whistling sound and the Spider King's roar. She opened her eyes to see the Spider King trembling. HP minus 4,200. Inoue saw that the Spider King had lost a tenth of its HP. How did he deal over 4,000 damage? By now, the Spider King was infuriated by this guy's teasing. With a thunderous roar, lightning filled the air. It instantly swallowed the provocateur. Boom! The valley shook, and the dust cleared. Then, the Spider King locked onto the provocateur. HP minus 1,350. The multi-hit lightning damage dealt to Lin Zhang about 5,000 damage. But against Lin Zhang's 130,000 HP, this amount of damage was just a drizzle. Inoue was stunned when she saw Lin Zhang, the Eastern Cannon King. She didn't expect him to strike now. Isn't he afraid she'll steal the first kill? Logically, shouldn't he wait until she's killed before stealing the boss? No, they can't handle the Spider King's stats. Why does she subconsciously feel Lin Zhang can handle it? But in the next second, Lin Zhang strolled casually toward the Spider King. Then he aimed his revolver at the Spider King. The Spider King never imagined this person would dare challenge it. It immediately unleashed its lightning breath. Terrifying lightning gathered in its maw, then erupted instantly. Yet Lin Zhang stood his ground without flinching and simply pulled the trigger. A blast of fire collided with the breath and exploded. Shocked, the Spider King spat even more frantically. Lightning rained down upon Lin Zhang, but with plenty of HP, Lin Zhang didn't bother dodging. Bang! A bullet grazed Inoue's sleeve and dealt over 4,000 damage to the Spider King. What skill is this? Why is the damage so high? Inoue's eyes widened in shock. 2 hits of such high damage couldn't be a coincidence. Lin Zhang pulled the trigger again. Click, click, click. Bullet after bullet, trailing flames, flew toward the lightning Spider King. Each hit dealt over 4,000 damage. The final bullet pierced the Spider King's head. His health bar hit 0, and the Spider King collapsed. You have slain the 3-star boss, Lightning Spider King. EXP plus 15,100. Tradable lifespan plus 130 years. Server-wide announcement pending. Hide name? You have slain the Lightning Spider King, achieving the server first kill. Received 25 free attribute points. You received 3-star weapon, Spider King's bracelet. You received 3-star skill rank up book X1. You received 3-star equipment, Lightning Spider Set. You received 1-star skill random chest X5. The system notifications rang out. Inoue was utterly bewildered. A 3-star boss was insta-killed by Lin Zhang in a few shots. While Inoue was dazed, Lin Zhang noticed he was only 5% EXP away from reaching level 10. Then he summoned them. Time to get to work. Magic wolves. Then he summoned them again. Time to get to work. A swarm of poison spiders poured out, charging toward the poison plants in the cave. Seeing the server announcement, the players were floored. The boss is gone. I already planned where to bury it, and now it's just gone. Cannon King is insane. He took down the boss in half an hour. Qingjian Yixing also breathed a sigh of relief. No matter how good his temper was, Inoue had pushed him to the limit. Just as he led the beginners to easily kill the purple zombies, you suddenly released magic wolves and poison spiders. Then, without giving them time to adapt, you brought out the hidden boss. Isn't this just psychological torture? Player Eastern Cannon King has reached level 10. Beginner Village. Potion Shop unlocked. Forge unlocked. General Store unlocked. Class Advancement and Auction House are now open. The players cheered loudly at the news. With potions and gear, killing monsters will be a breeze. Outside the village, Lin Zhang also heard the announcement. The players quickly found the potion shop and forge, but fell silent upon seeing the prices. A single lower-grade HP potion actually costs 1 year of lifespan. Crafting gear starts at 20 years of lifespan. Holy crap! This is a total ripoff. What about class advancement? Let's see how much it costs. I can't find it. I can't find it either. Damn it. Don't tell me it only opens at level 10. Then what's the difference between that and not having it? As for the auction house, we're all broke. What would we even list? They thought the auction house would be empty, but when they opened it, the sheer amount of items shocked them. Holy shit. There's so many. Various items were neatly arranged in the auction house. Though they were beginners, they had seen a lot in their lives, yet they were still dazzled by these items. Holy crap! Who listed all this stuff? Whatever. Let's see what's usable first. This is gear for my warrior, and a weapon for my archer. But why does this 2-star bow cost 50 years of lifespan? That's way too expensive. Even skills for my mage are here. Great stuff, really good, just a bit too pricey. These items were, of course, uploaded by Lin Zheng, and every item he listed was priced between 5 to 20 years of lifespan. Lin Zheng's move wasn't just to earn lifespan, but also to help the players in the beginner village. Time was running out, so Lin Zheng ignored. The stunned Yin beside him summoned a magic wolf and mounted it, racing back toward the beginner village. A woolly zombie and the lightning spider king followed on his left and right as if escorting their king. It was only then that Yin snapped out of it. Wait, what just happened? Yin felt a bit suffocated. She had already prepared herself for the worst, but with one move the Cannon King just slaughtered the boss. Meanwhile, inside the beginner village, the players saw the items in the auction house and were practically drooling. They began forming teams to head to the outskirts of the village to hunt purple zombies. With the help of Qingjian Yixing and other official powerhouses like Brother Tue, most players had already reached level 3 or even 4. Basically, once they formed a 4-man squad, they could easily slaughter purple zombies. As for magic wolves, forget it. Once we hit level 5, we're quitting. Whoever wants to play this deadly game can keep it. As the player finished speaking, the atmosphere of the entire team suddenly turned heavy. Just then, a furious roar erupted from ahead. Rumble, rumble, rumble. Immediately after, the ground began to tremble slightly. Every player's expression changed. In their ears there seemed to be bursts of thunder that made their scalps tingle. Along with the sound of thunder, above the dead forest ahead, there slowly appeared 2 blood-red eyes. Can't be a magic wolf, right? Are freaking magic wolves really this big? This is a boss. Run for your lives. By the time they reacted, a figure riding a magic wolf flashed past them in an instant. Then, a giant spider leaped over their heads. What the hell just flew past me? Oh shit. It looks like the Cannon King. The big boss already got a mount. Absolutely insane. Who knew a magic wolf could be tamed as a mount? So damn cool. I want a magic wolf mount too. A player named Star Sinks into the Sea looked at the Cannon King with eyes full of longing. At this moment, Lin Zheng only wanted to return to the village as fast as possible and buy that priority server merge item. Before returning to the beginner village, Lin Zheng directly stored the Lightning Spider King and Hairy Zombie into his title. Then, riding the demon wolf, he headed straight for the village shop. However, the moment he returned to the beginner village, he almost captured the attention of every single player, especially the undead demon wolf he was riding. When they saw the demon wolf enter the village, many players were completely stunned. Didn't they say monsters couldn't enter the beginner village? What's the deal with this demon wolf? But they soon noticed the man riding on the demon wolf's back. Holy crap! That's the legend Eastern Cannon King. He actually came back. It really is the Cannon King. He can even use a demon wolf as a mount. A legend is truly a legend. But why did he suddenly return to the village in such a rush? Let's go, let's follow him and see. At this moment, Lin Zheng moved at maximum speed and arrived inside the beginner village shop. Seeing a group of players gathered in front of the shop, he charged straight through with the demon wolf. Then, with only 10 seconds remaining, he quickly opened the purchase and used it in one go. As Lin Zheng used the priority server merge scroll, an announcement echoed throughout beginner village number 5267. Player Eastern Cannon King has used a priority server merge scroll. This server will be merged preferentially with a fallen beginner village. Hearing this prompt, Lin Zheng breathed a sigh of relief. Meanwhile, the players who were knocked aside by the wolf were stunned to see Lin Zheng. They only reacted after hearing the announcement. What's going on? Server merging is possible? I think there's an item for that, but it costs 100 years of lifespan. Why would a legend spend so much lifespan on this thing? Lin Zheng glanced at the crowd and began searching for the job change stone. He headed straight for the job change area of the village. Upon reaching the stone, Lin Zheng placed his hand on it. Congratulations, player Eastern Cannon King. for reaching level 10. You have obtained the job change privilege of the beginner village. Whoosh! The scenery around Lin Zhang suddenly shifted. 3 professional phantoms appeared before him. Please select your job change direction. Ranger Gunner. Ranger skills. Elegant. With high attack speed, movement, and critical hit rate. With lightning-fast draw speeds, they are the loneliest hunters. Ammo Specialist. They modify ammunition, even adding special magic to deal magical damage. They treat their guns as their life and cherish bullets as if they were food. Gunner uses heavy weaponry, primarily hand cannons for high output and fire coverage. For them, there is nothing that a single shell cannot solve. After glancing at the 3 classes, Lin Zhang chose the Ranger Gunner without hesitation. Although the Ammo Specialist can follow both physical and magic paths, his current damage is all true damage. There's no need to adjust for the opponent's defense. And while the gunner has high output and wide AoE, it's too heavy and simply doesn't suit him. You have chosen to change jobs to Ranger Gunner. The job change quest is about to begin. Please hunt the 1-star boss White Zombie. After receiving the quest, Lin Zhang rode the demon wolf out of the village. This scene was witnessed by many players. A job change. Suddenly, this game feels a lot more interesting. I wonder what we warriors will become once we reach level 10. Brother, let's just figure out how to reach level 5 first. Then we can worry about quitting the game. Just as these players were dreaming of hunting the purple zombie, they saw Lin Zhang riding the demon wolf again, returning in a whirlwind of speed. Why is the Cannon King back already? Could there be a problem with the quest? Definitely. Look at how anxious the Cannon King looks. Lin Zhang went straight to the job change stone, placed his hand on it, and submitted the quest.
Quest submitted successfully.
Successfully changed job to Ranger Gunner. Then the system notification sounded. Lin Zhang felt a refreshing sensation flowing through his entire body. At the same time, he began checking his status panel. Nickname, Eastern Cannon King. Level 10. Class, Ranger Gunner. First job. HP, 188,010/188,010.
MEP 4301-430.
Strength 40, Intelligence 11, Armor 25, Magic Resist 45, Speed 2.2, Independent Attack Power 172, Non-Tradable Lifespan 58 years, 25 days, Tradable Lifespan 762 years, 10 days. Class trait, cannot star up. Death Revolver. When using a revolver, increases critical damage by 40%. Fancy Gunplay when dealing combos or dodging with physical techniques, increases speed and crit rate by 10%. Leather Mastery. When wearing leather armor, armor attributes are increased by 20%. Other skills. Quick Draw 3-star, Earth's Renewal 4-star, Dual Wielding 4-star, Pursuit 3-star. Lin Zhang was reasonably satisfied after checking his stats, but he suddenly realized that he only had Pursuit as an active skill. He hadn't looted any other skills either, but the Sharpshooter class simply cannot learn other skills. Even in his previous life, Gunner skill books were incredibly rare. Passive skills like Dual Wielding were fought over bloodily by gunners. After the job change, Lin Zhang began to inventory the loot he got from killing the Lightning Spider King. First, 5 1-star random skill chests. Open. As Lin Zhang spoke, 5 glowing chests appeared before him. Ice Bullet 1-star, Mountain Crusher 1-star, Triple Shot 1-star, Revolver 6-shot 1-star. Rat Summon 1-star. I actually got one of my skills. Lin Zhang was startled. Then, a look of joy appeared on his face. Revolver 6-shot is arguably the most commonly used skill for a Ranger Gunner. Fast cooldown, high damage. Learn. You have successfully learned the skill. Revolver 6-shot, 1-star. Upgrade it to 4-star immediately, consuming 1-star upgrade book. 2-star upgrade book. Revolver 6-shot upgraded to 4-star. Effect. Instantly fires 6 bullets, and the damage of each bullet is increased by 400%. Additional damage will not increase. Cooldown, 8 seconds. Ha ha ha. Now, combined with my title, the burst damage will be enough to one-shot many bosses, Lin Zhang exclaimed. Unfortunately, the sharpshooter class relies heavily on weapons and independent attack power. Weapon damage is fixed. Only increasing independent attack power will raise it. As for the remaining skills, Lin Zhang listed them directly on the auction house. Lin Zhang considered this auction house one of the most useful systems in Jution World. You could open it directly from the character menu and list anything you wanted for sale. It charged a 5% fee, but it also let you sell items anonymously. Most of the equipment currently listed in the market had actually been posted anonymously by him. If he used his name, private messages alone would drive him crazy. There is also a set gift box. Lin Zhang glanced at the Lightning Spider set gift box. In his previous life, this was a famous 3-star set for beginners. It added massive lightning damage to attacks, and even had a chance to paralyze enemies. It was good enough to use all the way to level 40. Unfortunately, the Lightning Spider set was heavy armor. If it were leather armor, it would be perfect. Whatever. I will equip it for now. After Lin Zhang put on the heavy armor, both his defenses shot past 100, but his speed dropped by 0.2. Once Lin Zhang was finished, he logged out. Player Eastern Cannon King has logged out. When everyone saw Lin Zhang log out, they were still stunned. Why did Cannon King suddenly log out? Inoue was the most surprised. At that moment, she was slaughtering monsters in the Withered Wood Forest. Even the 1-star boss, White Zombie, had become one of her hunting targets. But when Eastern Cannon King, the name that haunted her like a nightmare, suddenly logged out, she froze, then sneered. Logging out at a critical moment like this? Just wait. By the time you come back, I will definitely be a higher level than you. Unlike Inoue, Qingjian Yixing was not surprised that Lin Zhang had logged out. Qingjian, what was that server merger priority ticket Cannon King just obtained? What is that? For some reason, Brother Leg felt uneasy. He had a feeling that notification was even worse than Inoue repeatedly causing trouble. Qingjian frowned. After thinking for a moment, he suddenly remembered something. His expression changed. This is bad. What is it? Brother Leg asked quickly. Qingjian looked deeply worried. A server merger priority ticket merges fallen servers into ours. And when the servers merge, the monsters from those fallen servers come with them. What? Brother Leg did not think much of it at first, but then something occurred to him. His expression changed again. You have to remember, the monsters in Jution World can evolve by devouring the lifespan of players. If an entire beginner village has fallen, what kind of monster could that create? Right now, they could handle magic wolves and randomly spawned white zombies without much trouble, but if some freakish boss appeared, they might not be able to survive it. I have already reached level 6. I need to report what is happening in the real world, so I am logging out first. Qingjian Yixing glanced at Brother Leg. Go ahead. When you log back in, I will log out. Brother Leg shrugged. If nobody stays here to guard the place, who knows what kind of chaos will break out? Qingjian chuckled and logged out as well. Meanwhile, after Lin Zhang logged out, he removed the virtual helmet and returned to his boosting club. But the real world was already in complete chaos. Boom! 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 Deafening explosions came from the distance. The ground shook under the force of the impacts. Lin Zhang stepped outside and looked up at the dark night sky, now filled with countless flashes of light. They came from skills unleashed by returning players. Lin Zhang was speechless. They got a little power and already think they are invincible. Do they really think the authorities have none? He remembered the riots caused by returning players in his previous life were suppressed very quickly. At least domestically, the official forces were still fairly righteous. As for other places, new rules would soon emerge anyway. The boosting club had already been reduced to ruins. Lin Zhang looked toward where Luo Anshui had been, and frowned. He still has not come out. This time, I reached level 10 before returning to reality. Much stronger than in my previous life. Do they all think I died inside Jution World? He remembered that the virtual helmet did not simply send a person's consciousness into Jution World. It transported their entire body. Many people had watched friends and family vanish the instant they put on the virtual helmet. For them, reality itself must have shattered. Just then, thanks to the pursuit skill enhancement, Lin Zhang quickly noticed a note Luo Anshui had left him. Lin Zhang, if you are back, call me brother. The whole world is in chaos right now. Seeing that Luo Anshui was safe, Lin Zheng finally relaxed. He remembered Luo Anshui had survived in his previous life too, returning to reality at almost the same time as him. Come out. Lin Zheng tried to summon his undead army from Jutian world. A massive undead army surged out all around him, but the moment they appeared, Lin Zheng immediately sent them back, so they really can be projected into reality. Just as Lin Zheng was about to head home, with 3-star pursuit enhancing his senses, Lin Zheng immediately noticed someone approaching. Who would come here at a time like this? He remembered that shortly after he left in his previous life, this boosting club had been blown apart by returning players. A figure wrapped in a red cloak suddenly smashed through the club's front door. He moved like lightning and punched the wall beside Lin Zheng. Crack! As the wall shattered, the falling debris unexpectedly revealed a mysterious formation hidden inside. The moment Lin Zheng saw the formation and its runes, his pupils contracted. A teleportation formation? Why would there be one inside the boosting club? It had clearly been installed long ago. There is actually someone still here? The man in the red cloak suddenly sensed another person inside the building. He snorted coldly and turned toward Lin Zheng. Only then did Lin Zheng get a clear look at him. The man was tall and powerfully built, with a black crossed sword and blade totem tattooed on his right arm, and a long sword strapped across his back. Lin Zheng stared at the black totem, shocked once again. He is from the Jutian Alliance. Why is someone from the Jutian Alliance here? In his previous life, he only started encountering them after leaving the beginner village. Then, through the doorway the red-cloaked man had smashed open. A group of men and women were herded into the club. All of you, get down. The red-cloaked man suddenly released a terrifying burst of magic power. The entire group collapsed as if their consciousness had been erased. Lin Zheng felt the other's magic power. At least level 20. Who are you? The red-cloaked man drew his long sword and pointed it at Lin Zheng. Lin Zheng, you brat, you're finally out. Hearing that someone knew him, Lin Zheng looked over. He saw Wu Han, the owner of the boosting club, walking in, and recognized him instantly. You know him? The red-cloaked man looked at Wu Han. Then Wu Han sycophantically explained Lin Zheng's background to the red-cloaked man. My lord, since this guy found us, let's take him back to the Sakura country as well. The red-cloaked man nodded. After receiving the signal, Wu Han barked a few orders at the guards escorting the captives. What the hell is that gibberish? Lin Zheng narrowed his eyes. I've only been back for a few hours, and the world has already become this mess. But Lin Zheng didn't care much. Lin Zheng wasn't some saint, nor did he have a grand desire to save all humanity. If he hadn't returned, these people would probably be dead. Lin Zheng, you want to live? If you do, get over there and kneel. Wu Han completely looked down on Lin Zheng, treating him with the same arrogance as before. Yet, Lin Zheng continued to ignore him. You brat, you didn't hear me, did you? Seeing no reaction from Lin Zheng, Wu Han's expression darkened. He reached out and grabbed Lin Zheng by the collar. Just then, the red-cloaked man said coldly, forget the brat, just kill him. Yes, my lord. Although Wu Han was slightly confused, he still carried out the order. With a wave of his hand, a burly man carrying katana charged at Lin Zheng. But in the next second, bang! A gunshot rang out. The man with the katana was instantly blasted into a blood mist. Lin Zheng hadn't expected the corrosive effect of the title to be so powerful, actually blasting someone into a blood mist. Lifespan plus 72 years, 12 days. Killed Shimamaru Kanai, EXP plus 100. Killed Shimamaru Kanai, EXP plus 100. Non-tradable lifespan plus 72 years, 12 days. Lifespan plus 72 years, 12 days. Non-tradable lifespan plus 72 years, 12 days. After picking up the energy orb, Lin Zheng couldn't help but remark, he didn't look like much, but he sure lived a long time. However, this action, in the eyes of Wu Han and the others, was absolutely terrifying. One shot turned a man into blood mist. Just how much damage is that? The red-cloaked man also felt that the guy before him was extremely troublesome. He gripped his greatsword, intending to slay him instantly. This guy is extremely troublesome. He gripped his greatsword, intending to slay him instantly. But before he could strike, Lin Zheng fired. Bang! Thick blood erupted from the red-cloaked man's left shoulder. Baka! The red-cloaked man cursed in rage, his face twisting with anger. But before he could counterattack, he saw his health bar had dropped to 1/3. His pupils dilated in shock. He had over 8,000 stamina, yet over 5,000 was wiped out in one hit. Could a beginner player really deal this much damage? And he should have been able to dodge that bullet's speed. Why was I hit? Seeing the red-cloaked lord get shot.
Han skjutit.
You brat. How dare you shoot the lord? What are you standing around for? Hack him to pieces right now. Hearing this, the red-cloaked man almost coughed blood in rage. Doesn't this idiot see that this kid is abnormal? This damage is inhuman. Before the red-cloaked man could speak, Lin Zhang activated his skill. Revolver 6-shot burst. 6 casual bullets instantly turned the red-cloaked man's subordinates into blood mist. Then, Lin Zhang pointed his gun at the red-cloaked man and looked at Wu Han with a freezing gaze. I think you two need to explain something to me. What exactly is going on here? Lin Zhang glanced at the teleportation array on the wall, made of lifespan energy. Then he stared coldly at the red-cloaked man. Most importantly, why are members of the Zhutian Alliance here? The red-cloaked man's pupils shrank as Lin Zhang exposed his identity. His eyes widened in shock. How do you know about the Zhutian Alliance? These players shouldn't have even left the beginner village. How could he possibly know about the Alliance? Did this guy reach level 10 and complete his class change in a single day? No, that's impossible. The monsters in the beginner village are not that easy to deal with, and when first entering the village, everyone's stats are absolute trash. Fighting a purple zombie alone is exhausting. How could he possibly hit level 10 in one day? Don't worry about how I know. I just want to know how you got into this world and what your objective is. The sudden appearance of the Zhutian Alliance in this world definitely means they have an ulterior motive. Lin Zhang was certain that his world had only just merged with the Zhutian world. Level 20 players shouldn't exist yet. The Zhutian Alliance must have used some method and paid a heavy price to send him here. Why send him? To assassinate talented players? But he remembered that in his past life, his city never had any famous players. What's the point of such an assassination? Lin Zhang finally realized the gravity of the situation. He suspected that he might have disrupted a key link in the Zhutian Alliance's plan from his previous life. How can you deal so much damage? Even if you have a title, it's impossible to deal this much damage. The red-cloaked man couldn't understand. Looking at the muzzle pointed at him, his heart trembled instinctively. You won't talk? Lin Zhang shifted his gaze directly to Wu Han. Do you want to talk? Or die? By now, Wu Han had been terrified by Lin Zhang's few shots. You've got to be kidding me. Turning people into blood mist, is this guy even human? I'll talk. Wu Han hurriedly raised his hands. Speak. Now, Lin Zhang urged expressionlessly. I'm from the Sakura country. We knew about the Zhutian world much earlier than other countries, but we are outnumbered. So, to expand the strength of the Sakura country, after the descent of the Zhutian world, we plan to kidnap people and bring them back as our combat force. Wu Han was quite cooperative, explaining everything he knew clearly. Who told you? Lin Zhang asked curiously. Wu Han glanced at the red-cloaked man. Lin Zhang immediately understood. In his past life, the Sakura country did produce many powerhouses. Everyone thought they were just lucky, looking at it now. But one thing is strange. Why would the Zhutian Alliance be so kind to help the Sakura Kingdom? Just as Lin Zhang was feeling suspicious, he suddenly noticed the man in the red cloak planning a desperate last stand, activating his magic to slaughter all the hostages he had kidnapped. Haha, even if I die, I will still complete it. Bang! Before the man in the red cloak could finish his sentence, Lin Zhang shot him straight in the head, ending his life instantly. You have slain the red cloak man across levels. Gained EXP plus 20,100. Non-tradable lifespan plus 150 years. Seeing the red cloak man killed, Wu Han's legs shook violently, nearly collapsing to his knees. He stammered, "Don't kill me, please don't kill me. I'll tell you everything I know." However, Lin Zhang gave him no chance to speak. Bang! One shot and he was dead. Whether you're from the Sakura Kingdom or a Han trader, I'll kill you first and ask questions later. Lin Zhang glanced at the crowd. Now that the red cloak man's mental control over them was gone, a group of men and women collapsed haphazardly on the ground. Lin Zhang stepped forward, scanning each of their faces. He didn't expect what he saw, and it left him stunned.
Chu Xinghui.
Why is she in our world? Isn't she supposed to be in the Jutian world? Lin Zheng's eyes widened. All the doubts and mysteries in his heart were suddenly cleared the moment he saw the girl. So that's how it is, to smuggle a tree in and out without anyone noticing, into the Jutian Alliance. The only way would be to hide her in a forest. Jutian Alliance, you've really outdone yourselves. Haha, without her I'd like to see how you'll manage to kill that man. Lin Zheng laughed aloud, marveling in his heart that fate can be truly miraculous sometimes. Hey, search over there. I just saw a group of weirdos, probably players. Though the voice was distant, but Lin Zheng, who had already reached level 10, could still hear it clearly. The officials are here. I really don't want to deal with them right now. As soon as Lin Zheng finished speaking, he summoned the undead venom spider,
Garak Chu Xinghui.
and leaped through the window, vanishing into the night. He returned to the complex he shared with Luo Anshui. Although the whole world had fallen into chaos, within China, the government kept things under control, so the returners couldn't cause too much trouble. Moreover, most of those who first hit level 5 were government agents. After all, they had inside information. Naturally, they leveled up faster. Even if there were returning players, their numbers weren't many at this point, mostly concentrated around the gaming arcades. Lin Zheng looked at Chu Xingyue, wrapped like a mummy in spiderwebs. Did I mistake her? Does she just look like Chu Xingyue? With that thought, Lin Zheng tore away the webs, preparing to search for ID on her person. If her name is also Chu Xingyue, then there's no mistake. Then she will definitely become the key to changing the fate of the Jutian world. But just as Lin Zheng was searching her, Chu Xingyue suddenly opened her eyes, looking at Lin Zheng with a look of confusion. Then her gaze cleared when she felt the man's hands moving on her. Her pretty face instantly flushed red. She whispered, "You pervert, what are you doing?" Lin Zheng froze. Damn it, she woke up at the worst possible time. It was then that Chu Xingyue noticed. Her body was covered in spider webs, and the clothes on her chest were badly torn, revealing her fair skin. She suddenly let out a scream. Lin Zheng quickly covered her mouth, then said, "Stop screaming. I was just at that moment. The door to the rented apartment was open.